Hello there, it's Andy from Email Love. Today we are talking about design systems, specifically email design systems. So for those of you that may not be aware of what a design system is, let me pull up Figma's website because they have an excellent definition. So at its core, a design system is a set of building blocks and standards that help keep the look and feel of products and experiences consistent. Think of it as a blueprint, offering a unified language and structured framework that guides teams through the complex process of creating digital products. And so a design system is often applied to a SaaS application or even a website. And I would argue you should be creating a design system for your email marketing campaigns so that you can keep your designs consistent and build emails significantly faster. And I'm going to show you how I would approach that. But first, let's take a look at a real life design system. And I'm just going to pull up Figma here because on the Figma community, Atlassian has very kindly made their design system public. So you can actually come on here, you can duplicate this and play around with it. And you can see how a big company like Atlassian uses a design system. And this is extremely comprehensive. I would say this is a very good example of how a design system would work at an enterprise level. Obviously, Atlassian has several products and they want to keep the branding consistent across those products. So you can see here things like consistent navigation, look and feel, badges, banners, buttons. It's really in depth. So even things like the button font, the corner radius, the colors, all of that is really outlined within their design system. So with checking out, I think for an email design system, we don't have to go as in depth as this, but building out components that you can then reuse within your emails is definitely worthwhile. And I'm going to show you how to do that with the Email Love Figma plugin. We're going to build a design system for a customer of ours called MedMassager. MedMassager is a company that creates therapeutic body and foot massages. And so they've been working with us for a long time, and we want to make it faster and easier to produce their email campaigns inside of Figma. And so I'm going to jump back over to Figma and we will show you how that's done. Okay, so I have opened up a design board in Figma, and I've also opened up the Email Love Figma plugin. In the plugin itself, we have a design system. So all of these components are what I would call an email design system. So we have headers, we have text blocks, multi-column sections, hero sections, even things like receipts or reviews, buttons and footers. And so I like to begin at the very top. And so I'm going to create a new frame. The frame is where all of the content lives. And I'm going to add several different header variations. You can see as I click on these, it gets built out on the left-hand side. What you see on the left-hand side is basically we're replicating Mailjet markup language as Figma layers and frames. And then when we come to export, we can export as email-friendly HTML. And so I'm going to add a few different content blocks and show you how I would customize them for the MedMassager brand. So it's worth adding a few different options, and we can work our way down, showing you how those would be customized. Okay, so right now it's one big long email. We are going to customize it and then we will break it out into different sections. And then I'll show you how I would approach building an email in the future with this design system. Okay, so let's update the logos. Let's make them a little bit larger, make them around 221 pixels wide. I think looks pretty good. I'm going to update the background color, and I think the padding could use adjusting. So padding is typically applied to the column within the Email Lab design system. And so if you select the MJ column frame on the left-hand side, you can update that very easily. Okay, I think that looks good. What was the width of my image? It was 221. Okay, so let's update these images. Oh, whoops. I did not select the column. There we go. You can see here I'm keeping everything very consistent. It's kind of the purpose of the design system, is to make sure everything is uniform and uses similar standards. Let's update this font color. And so I'm just going through each component, updating the branding. Obviously everything from the font type, the line height, you can control all of that. So I'm just going to update a few things just to give you an idea of how I would do it. I might update, for example, I might want this text to be 16 pixels, and I'm going to reduce the line height a little bit. Make that consistent. Just going to grab the hex color that I want for the buttons, because their buttons are a darker blue on their website. There we go. And I think this, so inside of a button, you have a text frame, and you can then reduce the size of your text. You can also apply padding to the text frame itself. In this case, this text frame has 18 pixels above the text, and so I'm going to reduce that to 0. So you can see here we're starting to have lots of different components that we can use in the future very easily. Let's update this image. To update the image, you simply select the MJ image on the left-hand side, and then you can replace it on the right-hand side. This image is set to fit, so it'll just fit the gap that it's in, but I want to fill, so I'm going to fill the entire space. So you can see here it increased the size of that image. Same with these images, I'm going to replace them, and I'm going to change it from fit to fill, and I'm also going to add a corner radius. I'm not a fan of how much padding is on here, so I'm going to change that to 5. And I'm going to change the color of this to light blue. Okay, there we go, looking very nice. One thing that you can do is also optimize how these components look on mobile. So this subheader, you can see here it actually has 80 pixels of height above it. On a mobile, that might look a little bit funny. And so I can select the subheader frame and then I can click on mobile styles. I can have mobile specific padding. So I'm going to change that to 10. And when we go to preview the message on mobile, we'll see that that will have been reduced. Add some products down here. So you can see there's a little bit of work up front to customize all of these components, but as you'll see when I'm finished, I'll be able to very quickly build out the structure of an email, update the copy, update the images, and then export to my email platform. Okay, so there's quite a few components. Now I wouldn't keep them in this frame like this. What I'm going to do is, I guess, a more basic version of what you saw with Atlassian, where I'm going to lay them out on the canvas and then organize them. Go. So you simply select the MJ wrapper, and then you can basically, the wrapper holds everything in that component. And I typically lay this out from header first, and then single column sections, and then multi-column sections. Okay, all we need now, I think, it's probably a couple of hero sections, and then we can build out our email. So what you can do here is, if I select the wrapper, you can see in selection colors on the right hand side, I can very easily just select the black color and update that to whatever I like. And if I want to delete something, you simply select the frame. So I want to delete the subheader. And then I do probably want to add some padding to this text frame that's underneath it. And so you can easily do that. You can see here, the whole frame is a little bit too big now. So what I would do is reduce the size of the overall frame. In fact, I might reduce the size of the padding above this this button as well. So let's reduce that to 25. And then we just need to make sure that the hero image and the hero frame and the wrapper are all the same height, which they now are. Okay, that looks good. And then we can do the same for this section here. Okay, let's pull these out. And there is our design system. And so what I would suggest is, once you have all of the components that you need, you would give the page a name. So let's call it the master email design system. And then when you come to create a new campaign, you would simply right-click on this, duplicate the entire page, give it a name that describes what you're sending. And then you have all of these components to play with, and you would simply spin up a frame, and then you would drag the components that you want to use into the frame. You can save them in the plugin as well, by the way, but I think in many cases, being able to visually see all of the components and then just dragging them into a frame, I think is a pretty nice workflow, in my opinion. And so you can see here, I've built out the structure of my email. I would then just update the images, update the copy, the links, the buttons, and then when you're happy with it, you can preview it directly in Figma using the plugin. You can view it on a desktop, on an iPhone, and you can also see how it's going to render in dark mode. Looks pretty nice to me. And then you would simply click on export when you're finished. We can host the images for you, so you just check this box if you want us to do that. You can send yourself a test directly from here. And then you can either download the HTML, you could download MJML, or you could export to one of these ESPs. And obviously we'll be adding support for additional ESPs very soon. And that's pretty much the process. So instead of designing in Figma and then recreating in a drag and drop builder or within your ESP, you can simply cut that step out, save yourself at least an hour probably, and get back to your day. And so I think using a design system in conjunction with the Figma plugin is a huge time saver for our customers. They are typically saving hundreds of hours per year by using these two systems in conjunction with each other. And so that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you want to try this out yourself, the Figma plugin comes with 10 free exports. It also comes with access to the ultimate email design system. So you can find this on the Figma community, and I will drop it in the notes as well. And you can do exactly what I just showed you. You can take these components, customize them, drop them into a frame, and then export to your email platform. And we will continue to add new templates and components. So be sure to check back and take a look at this every now and again, because we do continually add to it. Okay, so that's it for today. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks.